I was literally recording this video and I had to stop because I was just ranting and rambling about summoning on this banner, and I don't want the video to come across that way. So I'm going to remain calm and collected, try to at least, and I'm just going to, like, I don't want to come across as me telling you what to do with your dragon stones, because they're your stones, it's your game, it's you do whatever you want, right? Your account, perfect, okay. But I still have to tell you, right, what happens when you do summon, which, you know, these things that I'm going to tell you, these aren't opinion based, really. It's just more so of, okay, let's give you a reality in which you summon and either you don't pull or you do pull Omega, right? Because these are things you have to think about before summoning on this banner, right? Okay, so let's talk about this. First things first, the only positive in this video is that you continue to support the channel, which I really appreciate you for. So if you want to, you know, continue doing that, or even go a little bit further by subscribing, I would really appreciate, again, any extra support. But you being here is what really, you know, means the most to me. So thank you so much. Like, subscribe, anything means the world, and I really appreciate you for being here again in the first place. Hopefully you're having a great day. Let's get on to the negative side of the video, which is simply this, okay? Let's first talk about the banner, okay? Any way you slice it, it's not a good banner. If there is only 1, 2, maybe 3 good SSRs on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 featured list to be, let me reiterate that. If there's only 2 to 3 good featured SSRs on a 10 featured SSR list, the banner is not good. Okay, now granted, if, you know, one of those LRs is like the best in the game, or maybe 2 or 3 of those are top 3 in the game, then yes, there is an argument to be had there. But none of these characters are even like top 10, right? I wouldn't consider Omega top 10, especially with the last 6 months of releases. But that's just my opinion. I'm talking about all units in the game, not just LRs or anything like that. Okay, cool. Okay, so of course, you have the chance of pulling an unfeatured LR, right? Which definitely makes it a little bit more intriguing to summon. But even at that, it's like, it's not worth the risk because the banner is just not good. Like, you can say, oh my god, but guess what? I really need God, you know, LRUI Goku. Like, let me pull him right here. But you can also pull full power Frieza. And then what, right? So, banner-wise, it's not a good banner. Okay, cool. Done. What's more is that this character here is limited, right? And unfortunately, the limit in his passive is a defensive limit, which is the worst kind of limit. What do I mean by that? I mean, when a character has, you know, things in their passive where, let's say, requirements need to be filled, if those requirements grant the character extra defense, you have to go out of your way to get that, because we are in a meta where defense is king, damage reduction is king, guard is king. Whether you hate or you're tired of seeing those types of things on passives, that's what's going to help you win most of your fights. When characters can guard, characters can dodge, right? Characters can do those types of defensive abilities. So when a character is limited or has a requirement that once fulfilled gives you more attack, granted, you know, that's cool and all, but you don't really have to go out of your way for that, because extra attack in Dokkan is cool. Extra defense is almost mandatory. And unfortunately, Omega has the former, where a restriction in his passive gives him extra defense, and specifically damage reduction, a very powerful form of defense in this game. And the limit is GT bosses. Look at this category. Who are you running on this team to justify summoning, right? This isn't just me saying, oh, his main team is GT bosses, so you gotta run him on GT bosses. No, because you can run him on any one of his categories, right? Cool. But he has a defensive limit in his ability where, to make most use of him, to not see him get one shot, you gotta run him on this team. And the thing is, these showcases that you see of him, don't listen and again, when it comes to the rainbow showcases, right, and the best team show, like, those don't really matter so much, because when you pull him, you're gonna have him at 55%, best case scenario 69%, and then of course for like all the whales and stuff, you know, you get the point. But for the majority of people, they're gonna have this guy at 55, 69%, which means you're not gonna see how strong he could be with his, you know, defensive stat, right? This difference, right, and 4,000 is massive for this character. So you are not going to see this character at his maximum defense, right? Let's just get that out the way. That's one, right? The second point is many people don't link level in this game. Or if you're one of those, not link leveling and getting things like big bet bosses is just going to hurt your character even more. So these showcases, right, most of which, because there's definitely, you know, 55% link level 1 showcases on Omega, which are great representations, but those that show how great he can be rainbow, all that, don't expect that out of your Omega, because it's just, you're not like, do you have all these characters here rainbowed and easy 8 that can make the team look a little bit better? Because probably most likely not, right? Like, I'm trying to cater this to, you know, the general audience, where you're gonna pull this guy 55%, start link leveling him, but you're gonna fall off because you realize he's not really that great, and then you just wasted your Dragon Stones going into something you could have saved for, right? Like Saiyan Day, which is, you know, another month and a half-ish away. Or no, that's about, you know, 2 months. I don't know why I said 1.5. It's about 2 months away. So this character here is definitely a strong character, right? Given everything he can do, and is great for the GT Bosses team because he offers revive, and he's just, you know, a new, you know, a great leader for the team. As 200% is no joke, right? But the team that you gotta run to make him look the best is not, this is not a, like, what are you running here? What is your secondary option? Like, genuinely, LR EZA baby, that's one, I'll give you that. The Omega here, they've 100% aged. They're a good support, but okay. Is it crazy to say that Tech Sin is the third best option on this team? No, I mean, of course you have the STR androids, but even then, it's going to be really, it's wonky running this character, right? So it's like, what are, like, it's one of those things where you got to really think, like, look at your GT bosses category and see what you can muster, because if it's not much, then you're by running this character on any one of these other categories, you are already absolutely nerfing this character. So when they're at 55% and not even rainbow, when they're at 55% and then 0, you know, damage reduction, they're just getting one shot, right? It's not going to be the most fun experience of all time. And then let's take a look at this other categories. Dragon Ball Saga, who runs that? Full power. I don't know a single person who wakes up and says, I'm gonna run full power today. Like, maybe you got Super Saiyan 4 Goku and you're trying to run that team, but the thing about Super Saiyan 4 Goku is he's also GT Heroes, which I'm pretty sure most people focus, you know, team building around, right? The hybrids and pure Saiyans of the GT Heroes category. Full power is just there to be there, but like, I don't know who runs this category. It's not a bad category, but then you notice that most of these characters are super class. You're gonna fit Omega on a super class team? How's that gonna work for you? I don't think, you know, I think we get it, right? Another issue, transformation boost. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of villains on this team. I would probably say transformation boost. I can't even say it's his best team, because his best team is GT Bosses, because that 30% damage reduction. But maybe you can make it up, right, with transformation boost, but then Omega is just going to be not great. At which point you might as well just run Wicked Bloodline, or, you know, like, because the coolers will cook on this team, right? And all of the freezes will cook on this team. So, like, bringing Omega into here, like, you just have better options, defensive options at that, right? So it's like, what, Inhuman Deeds, who runs that? Power Absorption, who runs that? Powerful Comeback, you know, who's running that, right? GT Boss, we talked about, and then Battle of Fate. Battle of Fate, of course, is another strong category, but I would say it's heavily tailored towards super class, right? You can still build extreme class teams off of this, but then again, you're just nerfing Omega. So any way you spin it, I mean, you either run this guy on his own team, which the team sucks, but hey, he gets 30% damage reduction, or you run him on a different team where, you know, the team might be better, but he himself is not going to perform. It's one of those things where it's unfortunate. This Omega right here should have had this be extreme class instead of GT bosses, and he also should have been a GT bosses and extreme class support, something like GT bosses, you know, key 2 and, you know, 40% to attack and defense, and then extreme class key +1 and 10% to attack. So in total, he's giving 3 key and 50% to stats. But GT bosses specifically 2 key and 40%. So it becomes, you know, a scenario where you are buffing everyone on the team, right, by 3 key and 50% to stats, making a lot of these units already immediately look a lot better, right? And that's, you know, the number one thing. And then for those that say, hey, but hey, look, they're going to buff GT in the future, right? Yes, but at that point, how good is this Omega going to be? Because he is the GT bosses lead. Like, there is no better lead than GT. There is not going to be a better lead than GT bosses, which is a good thing, but also a bad thing, because when the next GT bosses character comes out, it's not going to be leading GT bosses, right? So we like the character A has to be extremely powerful to make up for all of these, you know, negatives here. But then the other question, like I mentioned before, is how good is Omega going to be the next time we get a GT bosses unit? GT bosses, like, they don't release things for this category that often. So, you know, it's tricky. But hey, he's dropping tonight. I will be streaming tonight. I'm not sure the exact time. I think I might be live when he releases, but you know, whether you summon or not is, again, completely up to you. I just felt like you deserve to know and see these different things here. So hopefully you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Take care and peace.